Tanking in N+ has always seemed like something unreachable to me. Only the select few Gigachads could take on the responsibility. Only they have the skill, the knowledge, the strategic thinking, and can handle the stress. Tanking is arguably the most stressful role in the game. Tank's mistake is the hardest to recover from, and when things go wrong, they usually take all the blame. Yet when things go right, the praise rarely goes their way. The War Within Season 3 is just around the corner, and I enjoy WoW releases as much as anyone, so I thought to give tanking a shot, and see if I'm able to join the ranks of the Gigachad tanks. The goal is to get the 3700 Rio Plus. The goal is a bit ambitious, let's see how far I can get. I don't have much experience in M+. The third M+ season of Dragonflight was my first. After being a classic Andy for a couple of years, some of my friends suggested to try out Retail. I picked the easiest role, DPS. I rolled Demonology Warlock, only later to find out that there is something called meta class, and I would get stuck in LFG refreshing for hours. But anyway, I've managed to get 3600 Trio. Back then I was really happy to reach that high in my first M+ season. But still, I had no idea what WoW Retail was like, and imagine my surprise when the 4th season started and dungeons changed with my gear becoming total garbage. Most of the time I spent looking for a dungeon, and as I said, Warlock wasn't meta, and the only thing why people invited me was that I played with my friend, who is a great mage. And I feel like mage been meta in every season, but still, 30 minutes to 1 hour of looking for a dungeon only to then try the first pool, tank dies and leaves the group. Rarely I had the pleasure to play with great tanks that could manage tough situations well and time the dungeon. I looked up to them and I thought, I wish I was that cool. Picking a tank class. For someone who wants to push higher keys, I have a couple of options. The first one is to have 4 friends willing to push the keys with me, which is borderline impossible, well at least in my case. But if you somehow manage to pull this off, then you can play any tank. The next 2 options will require me to play whatever is meta. Play with random people in LFG, so-called pugging, or find people to form a group to play consistently on some sort of schedule. In either case, if you are non-meta tank, finding groups will be extremely difficult, and I don't recommend trying that out. So, how do we know what tank is going to be meta? Well, there are certain streamers that test all tanks with different setups on PTR, and post endless tier list, PTR patch notes updates, etc. But those are mostly useless until the end of the PTR testing cycle. The specs are volatile, Blizzard buffs and nerfs classes left and right, so somewhere around 1 week before release we get a clear picture of what tank is going to be meta. Based on what I've seen so far from the tank streamers, Blood DK and Druid have 0 chance to be meta, so that means I would only need to level Demon Hunter, Paladin, Monk and Warrior. Vengeance Demon Hunter is, I think, my favorite tank. Lots of mobility, crowd control abilities, silent sigil, grip, etc. The double jump is insane, and I like the gameplay, when you rely on leech instead of abilities that heal you like other tanks have. I already leveled Demon Hunter for Season 2 of the War Within. Also wanted to tank, but played some Havoc with my friend to get gear, and quit shortly after, cause I had a weak laptop. But I since then upgraded my setup, and now I'm ready to have low FPS in dungeons with my Nvidia 5080 card. My Demon Hunter has some decent Season 2 gear, which would make gearing in Season 3 a bit easier. Unfortunately, I didn't have a max level Paladin, so I have like 10 hours of leveling in front of me. The race is of course Dwarf, due to their stone form ability, which is quite useful in M+. I always pick the Exile Reach starting zone. I feel like it's much faster than the default starting zone and it's very linear. Once I've completed the starting zone, at level 11 I get to Stormwind and immediately queue for a dungeon. For tanks, the queues are very fast. Automatically I queued for Dragonflight dungeons, not knowing that it was Legion Time Walking Week, and Time Walking dungeons offer more XP. So I completed 3 Dragonflight dungeons, only then I noticed the Time Walking option. I didn't play during Legion, so I had no idea what dungeons were there, bosses, routes, and I've never played a Prot Paladin in retail before. What can go wrong? But actually, I found it quite easy, just press W most of the time. The hardest part was to keep up with spending talent points. Leveling was so fast, and I didn't have much time in between dungeons. There was a very complicated boss at the end of one dungeon. With a low DPS group it was almost impossible to beat. Plus, no one knew what boss's abilities did. In this particular run, we spent half an hour only to disband. It took me a couple of runs to finally figure out what the right strategy for this boss was. With a high DPS group, the boss mechanic was skipped, so there was no chance to learn what it actually was. While leveling from the start, it is not fun to play. I had 2 buttons to press and did low damage. My item level couldn't keep up with my level, but still Paladin movement ability to hop on a mount for several seconds feels kinda boring, unlike jumps and leaps that other tanks have. Also, the holy power is a bit annoying, as well as spending holy power to heal myself or others. Plus, lots of utility that Paladin has to use on group members. I hope Paladin won't be meta, but if it is, I will accept that and try to get good at playing this pack. In about 8 hours, I hit level 80. My gear sucks, but I won't be doing any gearing until the new season starts. Now it's time to level the next tank, Brewmaster. I thought that for M+ Night Elf was the best race due to their racial ability Melt, which allowed to skip certain packs, boss mechanics, etc. But now there is a Melt potion. And I asked a professional tank what race is best for Monk. He said, of course Dwarf. Who am I to question the sensei? So, another Dwarf in my collection. The starting zone, of course, exiles Reach. Oh shit, here we go again. 1 hour later, I'm back to Stormwind. This time around, it's classic vanilla time walking week. This is just great. After around 30 hours of grinding vanilla dungeons while leveling in map, link to the video, I have to do it again. The vanilla dungeons are the worst, at least in time walking. You just can't play the game. The mobs constantly stun, polymorph, knock you out, silence, straight up violate you. Honestly, it's not a fun experience, and mobs drop aggro and switch to your group mates. Also, there are so many casters and I only had 1 kick, and not from the start. On the other hand, I found playing Monk to be fun. The rolls feel much better than the Paladin's hop on the mount ability. Looks kinda cool. I mean, anyone can run a mount, but only Monk can roll. Also, throwing beer kegs at mobs is also hilarious, and drinking different brews to heal and do other things is an interesting spec design. Vanilla dungeons are pretty easy and straightforward, no complicated bosses, just lots of annoying trash, and the only thing I could wipe was if I pulled the entire dungeon with the weak group. Other than that, leveling was ultra fast. Keeping up with talent points was complicated because I'd never played Monk before, and reading talents took time to get the stronger ones. I didn't feel like reading guides for this. I picked anything that seemed to improve the core abilities or added new ones to add variety to the gameplay. After another 8 hours, I finally hit level 80, and with that I will let my Monk rest until it is meta. Tanking felt a bit weird. I felt like I didn't have enough defensives, and the stagger mechanic is too many words. I will worry about it if it is a meta tank. And now it's time to level a warrior. I thought it's been a while since I leveled a dwarf, so here I am creating another one. And the starting zone, you already know it, the Reach. Familiar places and faces, feels good to be back, not really. Level 11, Stormwind, time walking dungeons. I found that I got a bit addicted to leveling and spamming dungeons. So I'm leveling my warrior right after I finished leveling my monk. Vanilla time walking dungeons, more suffering from endless stuns, polymorphs and boring dungeons. As with any class, 2 buttons gaming for a while, but then warrior starts to feel great. Lots of defensives, like 3 times more than monk has. Infinite healing, shielding, spell reflect, shield walls, just amazing. And on top of that, it has a charge and a leap. I wish the leap had 2 charges like Demon Hunter has. Anyway, great mobility, lots of buttons to press, and Thunderclap and Revenge were satisfying to press. I quite enjoyed leveling Protection Warrior. I would say it's my second favorite tank. After 7 hours, I finally hit level 80, and my warrior joined the party of other low-gear dwarfs and Night Elf Demon Hunter, waiting for other people to decide their fate. Let's talk a bit about UI, routes, builds, and plotter. I've decided to outsource the UI, dungeon WeakAuras, and routes to professionals. Some streamers sell their UI and WeakAuras for around $10 via Patreon SAP. In my opinion, it's a great deal. This is not an ad for any specific streamer, but it will get obvious from which one I got the UI from. Creating from scratch will take too much time and effort. for someone who has almost no experience in doing so. This is the only thing that I will be buying with real money. It will make my journey much easier. I don't want to quit shortly after starting. This way I can support my favorite streamer as well. As I said, I'm not planning on gearing my characters before Season 3 starts. I hope meta establishes pretty quickly going into the season. But I guess to be safe, I will start gearing 2 tanks, Demon Hunter and whatever has more chances to be meta. Seems like Paladin. The plan is to get any purple gear of Season 3 eye level and fill the rest with the blues and greens from the new campaign. I will then head straight into Delphs. I believe that Delphs level 8 can be completed with eye level lower by 200 and recommended on a tank, so that I fill the vault with hero track gear. I will also try to complete M0 dungeons. Also, in the meantime, I will try to watch some guides, learn the rotation and the new M+ dungeons. At this point I only know the Floodgate dungeon. I will have to get familiar with the routes, abilities and so on. So, before the season starts, I have 4 tank specs, max level, 4 characters with no gear except for Demon Hunter, but it won't make much difference. I don't have any experience tanking on Warrior, Monk and Paladin. I don't know the dungeons, routes, trash and bosses' abilities. But I'm excited and highly motivated to dive deep into the new season. This is it for the first episode of this series. Let me know in the comments if you ever wanted to try tanking, whether it's raids or M+. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, so that I will see you in the next one.